I would like to take a few moments to thank everyone again for joining. We have some very important people joining us today for the discussion of innovation in the sphere of aviation. This is the first of its type webinar organized together with my organization, which is Russia-Kazakhstan Business Council. And this is an organization which is run by the Russian Chamber of Commerce and has for its purpose facilitate dialogue between Russia and Kazakhstan in terms of trade, efficiency and trade advancement and export, import, and everything related to trade and cultural exchange. I'd like to take also a moment to thank Edward Sadwar, technical lead for Russia for Boeing Company, who is also the co-runner, co-host, and co-founder of Moscow Aviation Club, who is also present today. Maybe Edward would like to say a few words, say hello to our audience today as well. Lawrence Stein, a great representative of Skolkovo Innovation and Excellence Center, he's also present with us today. So I would like to invite you guys to take turn and maybe say a few words before we introduce our speaker, because for us it's very important that you are present here today, and I'm very happy and honored to have you. We're also expecting Maxim Antipin from S7, Russian airline, also attending. As soon as Maxim comes online, I'll ask him to introduce himself as well. If that's okay, I would like to ask Edward to say a few words. Unmute yourself, Edward.
Okay, hello, my name is Edward Sadbar. I work with Boeing. I've been in Russia about 2.5 years. I have over 30 years in aviation industry. Currently, I'm leading the field service engineering here in the Russian Federation. I have offices Ekaterinburg, 3 in Moscow, Belavia in Belarus, and in Minsk for Ukraine, and Bees and Skya. I guess that's about it for my aviation here in Russia, but I've been with other airlines, Etihad Airways, United Airways, Japan Airlines throughout my career. I've worked both commercial and military side for Boeing. And I'm just happy to be here and listen in. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Edward, for being with us and for your support and interest in what we're doing. Lawrence, would you like to introduce yourself briefly? Would that be okay?
Absolutely. Sorry, I cannot join by video. I'm a little outside Moscow where the connection is a little off. But hi, everybody. My name's Lawrence Stein. I'm the Vice President of the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Skoltech. I've also been in Russia not so long, just under a few years. Prior to that, I spent 15 years with Airbus in different parts of the US, France, and Germany, both covering activities from defense procurement, including the US aerial refueling contract, to most recently where I relocated from Munich, Germany, where I was working for the Chief Technical Office. So I'm very pleased to participate in anything that's aerospace, as it still remains near and dear to my heart. And we do have a few interesting aerospace related projects at the MIT Skoltech here in Moscow. So thank you for organizing this, and I look forward to having an interesting discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. We appreciate you being here. So I would suggest that we will begin with our theory part, and it's my honor to present you to Oliver Piaget, who is a mechanical engineer with an excellent track record of work in various countries, including Central Asia, Africa, and now he's based in Russia. He'll be sharing his presentation for 20 to 25 minutes, and after that we'll have a practical discussion. So thank you, Oliver. I'm passing the word to you.
Hello, everybody. Okay. Let me start the presentation. The idea today is just to present you some energy efficiency as a way to tackle crisis. And I will just provide in this presentation a high-level overview and an introduction to specific topics related to energy efficiency planning in airports. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Today, as we see with the COVID-19 crisis, we have really an issue on the air transportation, and mostly the airports are focusing on cost savings by closing piers, terminals. They are trying to reduce the maintenance costs, and they are postponing the capital expenditure. Also, reducing staff. Also, they are trying still to retain the maximum of their staff, but they are reducing their operations. And as you know, the airport are still working anyway, and we'll have to restart at some point with the same level of traffic. So they are still having a huge capital cost or to maintain the service level and the service quality today. So many security measures established in the aftermath of 9/11 are still in place 20 years after. And similarly, we can say that most airports will have to keep their new and more visible health screening and sanitation measures that they are putting or they have put in place for further a long or probably definitive time. And this means for them further cost and further queuing when passengers could be in duty free. So that's one of the issue that will follow after the COVID-19. And I've had something which might be not really related, but for me, there is this FlexCam, which is the flight shame actions that started before the COVID-19, and that might at some point restart after the traffic restarts. And for me, the COVID-19 is showing how vulnerable airports are to the demand destruction. So and the biggest long-term risk today might be the consumers reducing their air travel due to the carbon impact of flying. So this is also for me one of the crises that we should see for airports. But anyway, this situation has provided some opportunities to accelerate the adoption of artificial intelligence and automation. I'm explaining myself. Today, the sanitary situation is showing that we have to maximize the use of contactless technologies, paperless technologies, and payments, even boarding passes, and even inspections. And this will be done through artificial intelligence and more automatized processes of the passenger. In addition, for the artificial intelligence, we can use it to avoid queuing and crowding, because with all the new sanitary measures, crowding are formed, and as such, also for the sanitary measure, they are not really acceptable. So there is a way also by automating to manage the crowd flow, and in that way optimize also the non-aviation revenues. And the airports must take advantage of the low number of passengers in terminals currently to carry out revamp and implement energy efficient solutions that will reduce the operating costs and the maintenance costs. And they should prepare for me the grounds for sustainable aviation fuels, which are the real long-term sustainable future of aviation. So for me, energy efficiency will increase sustainability and robustness during any crisis for the airports. So talking about the energy at the airport, well, probably most of you are familiar with the energy. So let's see. sorry, I've lost track. Yes, airports are facilities similar to small or medium-sized cities, and they need energy to operate their infrastructure and to provide their services. Airport systems have a high electrical demand, high energy demand, and due to unique requirements of airport buildings and facilities. Airports are hubs of regional economic activity and are so the safe, economic, and most importantly, reliable provision of electricity at airport is of great importance. So the airports are extremely energy intensive areas, and they require a guaranteed, appropriately priced and secure, mostly, energy supply to meet peak demand from their service partners and passengers, and therefore optimize their operational capacity. And airports of all size, they must offer a minimum level of service requiring the use of energy to ensure most common energy use at an airport can be dispatched into, let's say, the airport terminal, which is with the lighting, the heating and cooling, so the air conditioning, and the appliance like passenger baggage handling systems or the passenger bridges, telescopic bridges. And the second side is the airport airside, where we have all the civil aviation related infrastructure like runway lighting, meteorological stations, but we have also the airlines with the auxiliary power units, or also the air conditioning units, and for the aircraft during the turnover, and as well as for the ground services, all the vehicles which are on airside. In addition to the provision of electrical energy required for the heads, the electrical energy also needs to be provided for airport buildings. The energy management is key, actually, and is extremely important for the airport. And the maintenance of an ambient temperature and of the air quality within the passenger terminal, for example, represents one usually after the cost of the employees' wages. This is the second expense, and this is the most significant contribution to energy usage at most airports. It can represent up to 70% of the energy consumed in airport terminal buildings, and this energy consumption, mostly for HVAC, so heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, is higher in countries that have cold climates. So electricity is essential for the operation of an airport, and renewable energy increases the option available to airports for their energy needs. Most airports in developed countries buy electricity from a power provider, and they are making energy use a major operating cost. So ensuring energy is used efficiently is a basic cost control measure. And while the largest airports are the largest consumers of energy, they are also the most efficient users of energy on a per passenger basis. So what I want to highlight here is that energy management is key. The airport should be able to track any performance degradation, any poorly tuned control of the heating, ventilation. All this can be a lot of waste of the energy, and this must be carefully tracked. So fault detection and diagnosis is existing. There are some building management systems with automatic building analytics that provide an opportunity to ensure that the airport is operating efficiently. So to reduce their long-term operating costs and to ensure that energy demand can be satisfied when the need arises, airports are placing a higher focus on energy conservation measures in the design and operations of terminal buildings and infrastructure. Some airports have also developed and operate new power generation systems that provide reliable and affordable sustainable energy, whilst also lowering their energy costs. Airports often work closely with tenants, concessionaires and service partners to reduce energy consumption through the introduction of low energy equipment and systems. This can be done, for example, with the ground service when it's not owned by the airport. Usually, they are promoting the use of electrical vehicles. Like the company will buy the vehicles, and the airport is committing to install charging stations in the airport. This is the kind of deals that exist. So there are several energy technologies that are currently being developed as energy sources for the airport. Frequently, they are listed here. We have solar electricity, geothermal heating and cooling, biomass. I've not written the hydroelectricity and windmills because they are less used on site for different reasons, mostly obstructions for the windmills. But frequently, it's more expedient and economically feasible for an airport to implement energy conservation measures than developing renewable and sustainable energy sources. But these measures can be done quickly and reduce its energy demand. So it's important to note that there are a variety of practices and methods that can be used by airports to enhance energy efficiency. These can provide cost savings due to the increasingly high and fluctuating energy costs. But they also provide important benefits, which include air quality and reduced greenhouse emissions. Example of energy efficiency practices include, installation of escalator sleep modes, for example. This is quite simple to implement, and but it's not everywhere the case. Definitely monitoring the energy use is something very important, and to more efficient lighting is something quite implemented, and which is definitely leading to savings. Well, if you take the retrofitting with LED lighting, it can result up to 50% of less power consumption, which is not small. And if we take the LEDs on the air side, like obstruction lighting, for example, as the LEDs have a useful life of 50,000 to 100,000, compared to a traditional lighting, which is 2,000, there is clearly some savings on the maintenance and also on the operations on air side. We have also the BHS, so the baggage handling system, that are quite consuming, and there are existing some low energy BHS technologies. For example, the independent carrier systems and the multi-carrier systems, they are enabling faster baggage movement, and they enhance the efficiency of the entire system, hence saving some energy. There is the direction that I would recommend is at the design stage. This is very important because Today, most of the owners are not seeing I mean, they see the cost when they implement the project, but they don't understand that trying to implement all these measures at a later stage is increasing the cost by far more than the cost of implementing it at an earlier stage in the development. So really, yeah, it should be, yes, underlined. An energy audit can help the airport operator also to understand its energy usage, and permits also to be strategic about the investment into energy efficiency technologies. For example, if the boilers of heat water are the one who are consuming the more, could be ideal to replace them by when it comes to the refurbishing those, replacing the same new ones. So yeah, so for me, airports are a gateway to and a focal point for a region's economic development, and they are excellent locations to showcase the aspiration of a state or of the region. And this can be seen at many airports where the billboards highlight the local and national attractions that can be seen, or the industries promote they promote their activities and new products. And renewable energy has been deployed by many airports around the world, not only to serve the functional benefits of providing electricity or energy, but also to communicate to visitors the progress and innovation of the country or the region. So it will also demonstrate to local authorities and the population the commitment to reducing the impact of aviation on the environment. So that was a short presentation. Maybe it's too short. You let me know, and we'll discuss further.
Oliver, thank you so much. That's really good. I think it's really good for you. You just timed it perfectly fine. 20 minutes.
Thank you very much, and I really wanted to thank the Russian-Kazakhstan Business Council for giving me that opportunity. Thank you for your attention.
Yes, Oliver, we really are glad that you made this overview for us, and especially because you were building airports in Central Asia, in Kyrgyzstan, and in this part of the world. So for us, it's quite important to know what's going on in terms of new technologies and how they're used in airport building construction. So I would like to open this space for discussion, because we have more people joining us. We have Panos from Greece, who's actually working for a Greek airport, who joined us. And hi, Panos.
Hi, Maria. Hi, Oliver, and thank you for the talk. It was actually very interesting. Many issues that we actually deal at Athens Airport. I actually work in the operations department, so it's very relevant to me. There are many challenges at the moment because of the COVID situation. A lot of costs involved. A lot of airports have to restructure at the moment in terms of operating. And this, of course, has the impact on me because I work in the operational center, which has to do with resource allocation and flight data. So it's all relevant to me.
Thank you.
Yes, and so if we bring it back home to Russia, of course, we have a lot of airports who are going to be, built and constructed, especially in the Far East part of Russia, and of course, the know-how and the knowledge that you have, Oliver, is very useful. But I want to ask other members, of course, in our group, if they have any questions or any comments or remarks, and anything that we would like to specify, or maybe give us an example in their practice and how they understand innovation in terms of energy efficient and airport construction. I know that it's a very specific area, and maybe some of you have additional questions while we have this pause for conversation. Okay, for example, is there an example of airport in the world which already adapted these green technologies? Do you know, Oliver, any particular airport where we can witness, for example, new renewable energy, as a main source for heating, or any, world-class airports that you know of that use green, energy?
Well, there are definitely several ones. I would say that probably for me, the emblematic one would be the Copenhagen in Denmark, the Copenhagen airport, which is implementing a lot of sustainable energies, like, for example, the on gates, the electric. So they got photovoltaic. They are using mostly photovoltaic solar panels for the electricity of their telescopic passenger gates, and also for supplying the power to the aircraft at their stand, and for the HVAC of those aircraft actually. Also, another major energy they have implemented is the aquifer. So basically they are using, they are pumping water from the underground, and they are using it to warm or to cool down their building. So today they are almost not using electricity to do air conditioning of their building, or at least a small fraction.
That's the same in Athens as well. We have we use solar electricity, solar panels to partially give electricity. So we're also a carbon neutral airport as well. So we've been accredited as a carbon neutral airport recently.
That's wonderful, Panos. You use olive oil, no, for fuel.
I wish we could actually.
Oh, fantastic. Any examples from ex-Soviet bloc countries or Russia? Any progress in this area at all that you know of? Any efforts to reduce the carbon footprint, or anything that you know of? Maybe some of you can speak about energy efficient in machine construction and airplane construction. Any examples or also are welcome. Well, it's a specific topic, and here we have only few specialists in this area. But the important is to make it more obvious and more open for other members of our audience and the larger public that energy efficiency is a way to achieve a more sustainable future for all of us, but also gives us an opportunity to be part of the agenda, of the larger agenda of the world, and in Davos week, next week, they will be discussing climate change, and they will be discussing the post-COVID measures, and all of these things are part of the agenda, larger agenda. And they have a climate summit in Scotland coming up this year as well, hopefully in person. So all of this and all of this plays a big, huge role. So we are here today, and we are part of a small discussion, but it's a very valuable discussion. So I really, thank you for all of your participation and interest in this area. And we can continue, talking about this and see what other topics can be of interest in this area, including innovation and product design and education as well, because part of it is education, is learning about these technologies and teaching people about these technologies. Lawrence, tell us a little bit about Skolkovo, about your department, because I know you're doing a lot in this area, and maybe something that we can, get familiar with. Any part of maybe? Yeah.
No, it's a broad question, but what we do have at Skoltech is we have a faculty dedicated to future energy storage, which I think everybody's familiar with. So it's a broad area of research with about 48 faculty and a few hundred students. So we're sort of tackling the ultimate mission, or I like to frame the question, although it's a bit controversial in Russia, especially when you look at the dependence on oil, is why does any country want to be good at something that the world does not want in 50 years or less when we're talking about oil and that. But however, we have to look at the trade-offs on all these alternative forms of energy, whether it's electrical. Right now in the hype curve, at least in our small world, it's we're getting inundated with requests about hydrogen fuel cells and what have you. So this is very much on the beginning of the year of McKinsey's hype curve. So we're seeing a lot of great interest for there. We're not really focused on energy storage for large scale infrastructure like airport, but this type of discussion will definitely stimulate ideas. Where the demand for industrially funded research at Skoltech is focused on energy storage is, no surprise, the big push in automotive, especially commercial vehicles, not so much passenger right now. When you see the trends coming out of Detroit and California, that's a huge push for us. After that, a second area for energy efficiency, although that is somewhat infrastructure, is remote communities. So remote communities in Russia, remote communities in the US or Canada. That's another area of focus. And then the third area for energy efficiency and storage is just optimization. As you know, 2 days ago, an Israeli firm has made a claim that they've developed a process for full 5-minute charging of an entire 5-passenger electric vehicle. So it's quite a claim, but you can see where the directions are going in that. But I think whether it's mobile transportation or infrastructure, there are a lot of trends that will carry over to one another. So that's where we're focused right now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Lawrence. Yeah, we will definitely, maybe host another interesting session about hydrogen in general, and I think everyone will be very interested in learning more about hydrogen storage and hydrogen power and innovation in this area. You can also write in the chat box what topics you're interested in learning more, and we will facilitate this dialogue with the right experts. One of the issues, of course, is the development of remote areas in Russia. One of the main tasks for us is to help develop industrial parks in the Far East, and right now the government is doing a lot to help subsidize the development of industrial parks and areas all over Russia, and to stimulate localization and different products produced in Russia and in Kazakhstan as well. We share the same agenda. And we personally would like to see Russia, oil-free in the future and not so dependent on oil. But because the airplanes cannot fly, they still need kerosene. We are still going to see the use of oil for a little while. My understanding is at least 10, 15 years will be dependent on oil. And unless we find a way how to fly planes with hydrogen. Is it possible to fly planes with hydrogen, Edward?
Yeah, I think eventually anything is possible. I think there's some testing going on now with hydrogen, but in small aircraft or civil aviation. There's a few fuel cell aircraft, but right now they're flying on biofuels. They have flown from, I believe, Australia to Los Angeles on biofuel in a Qantas aircraft test. I also know that in Abu Dhabi, they're working with partnership with Boeing on biofuels there. In Abu Dhabi and the UAE, they have a lot of energy initiatives to get them off of oil. They're trying to diversify. They're doing solar panel farms, a nuclear power plant. They have a lot of biofuels. They're really investing heavily in. So even they see the end of oil here soon. Biggest issue we have with aircraft and efficiencies is that everything you put on an aircraft takes a long time. It costs a lot of money to certify. So you're not going to see a lot of innovation, at least not in commercial aviation, happen anytime or happen very quickly. Right? Because you need reliability, you need safety. It's just, there's a lot of certification. So I don't think we're going to move away from kerosene, whether it be biofuel or your kerosene we're using now, which is petrochemical. I don't think we'll move away from that for quite a while. Well, I wouldn't say that. The next probably 10 to 15 years. So, and first the shift would be to biofuel, and who knows after that with fuel cells and solid state batteries and everything else. So,
how would you rate the airport efficiency in Russia? Because you work with many airports. How would you rate their ability and their readiness to pay attention to energy efficiency right now?
well, I don't know much about the airports in Russia other than, the ones I work at, SBO, VKO, and DME. They look like they're doing a pretty good job with those, but more concern for me and what we do has to do with other infrastructure like taxiways, runways, things like this, especially in the harsh weather, and being able to clear the runways and the taxiways and, just clearance areas. But the biggest problem we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of damage being done to aircraft because of the lack of either properly clearing the runways or just the condition of the runways. A lot of the airfields in Russia, of course, are old military airfields, and they were never set up for commercial aviation. So we have issues with some of our larger aircraft, like 777s with the multi-truck or 47s and stuff like that. But it's slowly coming about. They're slowly doing repaving and, improving the infrastructure, at least from that part of it.
What about your experience in Kazakhstan and these countries? Have you been there?
No, I haven't. I haven't been to Kazakhstan, just to Ukraine and to Belarus.
Okay.
But we do have people there. We do have a lot of people there. I mean, obviously, airfield has to be certified to operate aircraft off of, so they meet a minimum qualification now, at least runway surface condition and things like that.
Okay, thank you, Edward. Yes, it's a lot of work to do, and thank you so much for participating. And Oliver, thank you so much. What are your plans about right now? You moved from Ethiopia to Russia to join your family, your lovely wife and children. What is your plan now for work? What do you want to do? Have you done any interesting projects in Russia? And anything you want to share with us before we start closing our session, before our wrapping up? Olivier, this is a question to you. Oliver, I'll unmute you. You need to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I missed the question.
Your plans about Russia. How would you like to use your knowledge and your experience in Russia? What is your plans for Russia? How are you going to work here and what you're going to do? Any particular plans for that before we close our session?
Well, at this stage, no particular plans. Let's say that definitely I want to see the implementation of sustainable energy and a greener Russia, I would say. Honestly, yes, this is something. And I was hearing, I think it was Lawrence who was talking about remote communities, and this is something that also talked to me, like, remote airports to serve remote communities and trying to implement something sustainable for them.
Okay, good. So Oliver, you will be connecting with Lawrence in a separate offline capacity and follow up with him how we can continue our work together with his institution. Meanwhile, I'd like to take this opportunity to announce our next activity here. Is tomorrow we will be doing an interesting presentation of a pilot school for children. So we are opening a pilot school for children tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'll send you the link.